Thank you so very much for allowing us to be part of your day, but most importantly, your weekend. This is Enterprise Weekend Region, you from Enterprise Television. I am Henry.
And I'm Chuma Okoya.
All right, we head straight to our newspaper headlines for this morning, and right after that, in a jiffy would be, conversation also for today, while we get everything all sorted out and produced for you. Please do well, be part of our community, have a say in what we say. You can always find us at Enterprise TV News.com, and also do like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV 7. With us today to do justice to all of that, we have Barrister Damola Kolawole. He is a constitutional lawyer and a public defense analyst. Good morning to you, Barrister.
Good morning.
Thank you so very much.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you so very much. So we equally have a Barrister Fanchefeli, a Barrister local defense analyst. Good morning to you, Barrister.
Good morning.
Barrister.
Thank you.
All right, so let's kickstart our newspaper headlines, interestingly, with the Saturday Punch newspaper. And the big story, of course, like we have today, Rivers LG poll attention on Saturday as the weakest allies of Fubara camp set to clash. The right there says the police pull out of election site court judgment and also judgment evidence of rascality, says the NBA.
Okay, still on the Punch newspaper. Being a female senator tough. A lobby for projects. That is coming from Senator King Ibe.
All right, and also on the top strip of the same newspaper, Pastor Adeboye's apology reignites a Titan debate.
Okay, moving on. Why blacks have more kidney problems in UK? That is coming from Vela Ido. Details are on page 16.
All right, interestingly, we have on the bottom strip of the same newspaper, Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, that is a direct lord's choosing to vet testimonies before presentation.
Okay, moving on the top strip of the Saturday Punch, we have Niger boat's tragedy. 42 bodies recovered, 108 remain missing.
All right, so let's go into our crux of our discussion today. Russia, Ukraine, trade wars over Nigeria's protest. Yes.
Okay, let me just give a little body to that particular story. Tension is escalating between Russia and Ukraine as both countries exchange sharp statements over allegations of interference in Nigeria's domestic affairs. The Russian government on Friday issued a stern warning to the United States, Ukraine, and the United Kingdom for accusing it of sponsoring protests in Nigeria. Russia, in the release, said the country should rather be blamed for attempting to interfere in Nigeria's internal affairs and undermine its bilateral relations with Russia. The warning comes amid growing concerns over foreign influence following the October 1st protests across Nigeria.
Gentlemen, isn't this very interesting, unfolding as it is? I remember very vividly after the end of our governor's protest, Nigerian government went around arresting everyone that was flying the flag of Russia, and now we have it authoritatively that Russia is saying, stop meddling in Nigerian affairs. Russia tells Ukraine, UK, and US. Master Veli.
So Russia, this is funny. This is international politics at play. The blame game of who is doing what, when, and how. Every action you take in the international scale have implications. Whether you are actually sponsoring or not, whether it's true or false, it has implications. Because of the doctrine of sovereignty, even bilateral or agreements cannot obviate the general principles of sovereignty. The exceptions are bound, okay, where you have agreements and all that. But, Nigeria is in the spotlight now because of bad governance. We told this government at the outset that they should provide good governance for the citizens because it's their right. Okay? It's the citizens' right. Now, because the governments have been unable to do that, two countries are now issuing warning against each other or one another about that is to tell you that Nigeria, as fragmented as it is, have huge potential. We are strong allies to Russia.
Strong allies to Russia?
Yes, in terms of trade.
Okay.
Trade.
Okay.
Nigeria is one of the highest consumer of wheat in the world. You understand? We are the largest producer of yam in the world. Just that we are not managing our exports proper. Otherwise, we have a lot in common with Russia. A lot in common. Large this, large that, large this, large that. Well, I mean, you know what it is when it comes to wheat, okay? And all that. So, my take home for this is that Nigeria is economically relevant, if not for anything, her population, which counts for trade. Okay. Between this morning and nightfall, the number of loaf of bread 200 million people will consume. Half of that, if not everyone that have the capacity, contributes to an economy somewhere. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And it's consistent. You understand? So we are very, very, they don't want us to go up in flames because of the economic benefit. You see, countries don't issue statements for the fun of it. There are reasons for this statement. If we go up in flames and they know what they went through when we had the Civil War. They know. So that economic alliance, that which will contribute to the world, every country is interested. Do you know that in the G7, when they discuss strong issues on black race, Nigeria makes the top list. It's the largest the concentration of black people in the world. So you cannot do without the country. If not that we have messed ourselves up in everywhere, whether national or international, we should be in that G7. I mean, we should be in the G7. We cannot be there. We have not put our house in order.
But unfortunately, we're still not in the BRICS.
Okay, thank you, Barrister.
Yes, we're not, but this is to tell you that we're relevant, very relevant. That's what I'm saying.
Thank you, Barrister Dami. In response, the Russian Press Secretary Yuri have come out to disclaim and just come out to say it's not actually true. And how does this project us, even though the Russian Press Secretary have come out to say it's not true that they are behind the unrest in Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Let me tell you something. We are witnessing, the post-Second World War issue, which is actually snowballing us into the Cold War and the post-Cold War issue. And you should understand that the Cold War within the Soviet Union then and the United States of America has not ended yet. Even though theoretically they will tell you the Cold War started after the Second World War in 1947 and ended in 1989. The Cold War is still ongoing. And that's what you can see now. You see, how does the Cold War era, how does it, impact on African states? You should understand that the issue of inter-ethnic, urban, inter-nation, rivalry actually brought itself out. How do we see that? You see the two superpowers fueling proxy wars, making sure that there are unrest in various areas, trying to create dominance. Because all they wanted then is affiliations and allies. Nigeria tends to be practicing non-aligned movements. But in the economy, we are dependent on nations because we don't have trade parity. What are the 3 points by which Western nations, developed nations, the one you want to coordinate the rich nations, what are the 3 modules by which they relate with less developed nations like Nigeria? 1, they are concerned about the resources. I said 3. Most important, they are concerned about the resources. So, no nation is interested in you because of your resources. They are only interested because of their resources. They are not interested in your people. 2, manpower. Everybody kept talking about jackpot syndrome. And you see, you are going to do what we called a post-colonial relationship over there. You are going to be the man to work in their industry, in their factories. You are going to be the man to continue slavery to their people. The industries where they take our resources to, we are the ones who work in those industries. That's number 2. Number 3, which is most critical, which is the aspect that we continue to say, the post-imperialism tendencies. What is the number 3? The number 3 is whatever is produced within the context of the fact that we have the resources, our resources are taken there, we are the ones to work in their factory, all that is produced, we are the market. It's shipped here. It means that we are the market that is controlled by the Bretton Woods Institute and dictated by the dollars. So the monies that is stolen from your domestic, anomalies, from your domestic mismanagement, from your domestic financial recklessness that is going to save in the World Bank, in the Bretton Woods Institute, in the International Monetary Fund, that money is still to be loaned back to your leaders. You can see those anomalies and the post-imperialism tendencies is what you see in the issue within the context of a small, protest in Nigeria. And you should also understand the fundamental issues involved in the protest and the fundamental infringements, electoral fundamental infringements involved in the protest. And now you see the two superpowers, you understand, are now interested in Nigeria, not because they are interested in the people, but they are interested in the, the various armed deals that are going to come into it. They are interested in the domination of the various resources involved in it. Look, nobody is interested in you. You don't give what you don't have. And that is the situation. Or whatever, look, if they move from Nigeria and move to other countries where there's a little skirmish in that country, the two countries will want to have their voice there. Why are they doing that? Because they want to have their domination there. Why are they? Because they want to have the control over the resources. Why are they? Because they want to ensure the fact that the imperialist tendencies is ongoing, want to dominate. And that is the issue we have today. The issue we have today is about domination. It's not about the interest of the ethnic nationalities in that country. It's not about the interest of the unity of that country. Look, if Nigeria goes into flame now, it is not to their benefit. Because truly, like my other colleague said, they want to protect their interests. You see? So, whatever anyone has to say, whether it's true, whether it's wrong, whether it's just a propagandist tendency, their interest comes first.
Their interest comes first. Interestingly, we've not had anything yet from Bayo Onanuga.
No, Bayo Onanuga is still thinking about it. Yes.
Alright, so quickly let's move on to the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And the big story here is local government poll. Wike Fubara in fight to finish. The writer Fubara accuses IGP of bias, insists on today's elections and mayor right there.
Okay, on the top strip of the Vanguard newspaper, sad story of mysterious disappearance of policeman after in-laws burial. Details are on page 15.
Alright, and also on the top strip of the musical customs, the police and react as fears spread about millions of seeds and illegally imported into the country.
Okay, still on the front page of the Vanguard newspaper, if you go down, you see with the benefits of hindsight independence only benefited our leader. The masses would have had a better deal under our colonial master. That is coming from Dr. Ugoji.
All right, so let's get into this particular interesting story here. Why we are rooting for an indigent to be Lagos governor in 2027 from a particular group. Let me address this to you, Barrister Dan. We do not know the group. Of course, they are hoping and fighting, rooting for an indigent to be the Lagos governor in 2027. But what do you speak to this? Do you think the Abo origins of Lagos have been denied this most prestigious symbolic position in the state that they own?
The question you just asked me is, who are the owners of Lagos?
Exactly.
Lagos was the former capital city of Nigeria. You understand? Where all parts, all nations, you should understand that the issue of indigenization has something to do with geographical placement of that indigenization. When you talk about ethnic nationality, if you're talking about, you see, there are ethnic nationality in every nation. When you talk about the issue of minority, which brought about the Ugo Willis Commission of 1958, in every clan, in what you will consider as a state now, there is fear of the minority image. So in Lagos State now, a lot of persons had actually stayed in Lagos for getting the foundation. Someone will tell you that the foundation of Lagos is from Ife. Somebody will tell you it's from Benin. Someone will tell you that before the Benin people occupied Lagos, there had been, occupiers of Lagos itself before then. So there are pectoral of issues concerning that. But now the issue of the next election and the issue of indigenization, who would you consider as an indigene of Lagos going to the foundation of, there was no Lagos at the time. There was no Lagos at the foundation of what you call Lagos. It was a Eko. And what is the interpretation of Eko? A placement that is close to the sea. Do you understand? So all this military, fragmentization and then, military development that we practice that is actually causing problem. See, I said something and I'm going to repeat it here, that if we don't revert back to the mistake of 1914, what brought us together that created this geographical, balkanization? Because that is what we have. What does the geographical balkanization actually resulted to? It resulted into people who had nothing to do with a particular region, who don't speak the same language, being brought together. People of the same language, of the same culture, being demarcated away from each other. You see? So, look, like what Bob Marley said, there cannot be peace, lasting peace, without what? Justice. And you will continue. That's the reason why you will see, who are they going to bring forth to say this is an indigene of Lagos? When you bring that person, dig into the foundation of that person, go into the organogram of the family tree of that person, you'll find the person in Agbiji. Or you will find the person in Akure. You see, it's just the mistake of our foundation, and that is when we find ourselves in what we find ourselves now. You will not be able to have a last. If you bring somebody now, you will see other factors will come in and say, oh, this person you bring, the grandmother is from here and the grandfather came from here. So how come this person becomes an indigene of Lagos?
Well, this is very synonymous to when the Europeans made food in Americas and said that they were the one that discovered there. But of course, we had people who were living there. So do you work with what
the Red Indians? The Red Indians were there as far back as now they have been restricted to just one state, Indianapolis.
Now play it back to
even the indigenes of the what do you call them now? The country close to America that borders America. There's this country that borders America, Mexico. They are the true owners of Texas.
Yes, that's correct.
That if you go to United States today, you see them. They are the ones that make noise in the United States. They loud their music and drive rough and all that because as an act of protest, their great grandfather told them that, and that place ordinarily belongs to you guys, but you were thrown away. So you see this issue of settlement, indigenization, ethnicity, and the rest of that. If we use this as a basis of selection, we are not looking at a solution to the problem on ground. Lagos needs someone who is eviscerated from the banalities of ethnicity and antiquity. Someone who can bring focus, who can bring democracy to bear, and make it practicable for the people to get to that dividend of democracy. Not just in Lagos, every other state. Because at the end of the day, see, Lagos was a crown colony in 1861. As at 1861, Lagos was an extension of England. Okay. And if you look at the slave trade, okay, you notice that there are influx of people even from Benin Republic and some other places into Lagos as far back as 18-something that nationalized here, and they are now, there's a school of thought that said they are Warriors on Lagos because one of the leaders had a pepper farm in Isheri then in Lagos. What you call Lagos? It's Lagos Island, actually, at that time. Okay. Now, when you go through all the tribes you have, from those from Ekpe to the ones in Awori, the other and all that, and you want to settle on the issue of one man who is a true Lagosian, who will now be the Messiah. Because the truth is that we should be looking at democracy from the standpoint of performance and from the standpoint of delivery. Okay, as the law prescribed, not from the lens of ethnicity, we will widen the divide more. Because until now, the indigenes of Lagos State, they seem to be, together. By the time we want to do politics and we now want to pick one person that is truly from Lagos, the respective tribes in Lagos, they'll start to have problems. Yes, they'll start to have problems because each tribe will now be contesting for what we call superiority. And if that is the underlying factor, they now need to conquer that first before they then bring somebody who is truly a Lagosian. That can also be a mistake.
Yes, there's no game saying that Bola Tinubu has done an awesome job in putting these people together in the same funnel and ensuring that mission is accomplished. What do you think would happen if maybe that is no longer the case?
That structure will fight against this indigenization thing that is going on. I know that structure is a behemoth. That structure have capacity. It bullied its way through the center. And is it now that structure is at the center you want to talk about it? You should have dealt with it as a little demon when the container was in Lagos. Now, that power is not a behemoth. It's at the center. It has the power to, by stroke of the pen, it can do damage, incalculable one. Not when that structure also have high neck. I'm just telling you, how are you going to bully your way through that structure? I'm not saying they cannot be detonated or be brought down if people really want to go the whole hog. But I'm saying, how about doing this indigenization thing when they were contained? As their nuisance value was contained to Lagos. Now their nuisance value has spread to the center. Look at the country.
Thank you, Barrister Evans. Barrister Dami Damola. Change cannot occur if the mind of the people is not changed, because change starts from the mind. Looking at how well this tribalistic thing has eaten deep into Nigeria, and more especially Lagosians, looking at 2027 and saying they need to have a governor that is an indigene of Lagos, how well can we start passing the right knowledge to the people to understand that it is not about tribe, it is not about indigene, but it's about performance?
Well, you see, thank you very much. It's about performance, it's about delivery. You see, a whole lot of issues that we will have to talk about here. You should understand that the mindset of Nigerians and the direction by which we have actually been, propelled towards is not in the context of delivery anymore. It's not in context of intellectual, development anymore. That's the reason why you see massive failure in JAM, you see massive failure in WAEC, because Nigerians are now TikTok directed. We are Facebook and IG directed. You see, so we are not propelled in the direction by which we can think appropriately. We are not, a nation that we should think in the direction by which our mindset should be able to tell us the right thing from the wrong thing. I think we are dwelling towards absurdities more. Nigerians are in the context of what they can get to eat when they are hungry without even thinking about tomorrow. You see, a lot of absurdities have actually crept into the Nigerian state, when you will find the wrong person actually occupying position of, of governance. When you will find someone who should ordinarily be even in prison, being in the position of leadership. So what do you think would happen to other sectors? It will affect every other institution that you have on a structuralist foundation. See, Nigeria is, for now, what I would say, playing Nollywood. Because in context of serious governance, we are not there. That's the reason why you see the Inspector General of Police actually telling a sister agency that you don't have the authority. Which authority is he having to give direction to a sister agency? Is there a constitutional provision, to that? The answer is no. So what we have now is a charade that will not lead us to anything. Somebody will tell you that, the president already made us understand that there's what? A light at a silver lining at the end of the tunnel. But the idea is, have you got into the tunnel? Have you seen the silver lining at the end of the tunnel? Maybe he has seen it, or maybe he has taken even that light and hidden it. Nobody knows. So the question is, we are in that ideology, in a metaphorical ideology, in an ironical ideology, that gives us a pretentious understanding of religiosity that is until when we get to heaven that we have the blissful happiness. You see that when the developed nations are building their nations and having their heaven on earth, we are expected to have our heaven when we die. It's unfortunate that, look, the system we practice is not a system for us. It's a system by the elite, for the elite, and then for the circulation of elite based on the Pareto circulation of elite.
That's so very apt, Joma. I just hope for that day when Nigerians, just like they hold the symbolic positions in other parts of the world, UK, US, Canada. I just hope to see that that provision or situation where someone from Sokoto can conveniently run for a governor in Lagos, and mean somebody from Katsina can run for a governor in Imo State. And the most important thing is let's have an even development across board for sustainability in our country. Thank you so very much, Dan, for being part of our show.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, yeah.
And when we return, the D-Day in Rivers as voters head to the polls to elect new local council chairmen and councillors. Stay with us.